Good morning. Seeing how it's 31 below this morning, this is a good day to tie flies. At any rate, this is one of my favorite Fly Nymphs. I'm tying it on a number 14. It's a Togen's barbless, and it's an emerger hook. I have on here a brass bead. I'm using brown thread. Now, I'm going to run my thread all the way down to the bend of the hook, because at this point I want to put the tail on. For this, I use a pheasant. I'm using 3 fibers, 3 or 4. You always use a little extra in case you break one. I put 2 wraps on it and then pull for length. Now I'm going to run my thread back to the front. I'm going to use for a rib a fine copper wire. I put that on now. Run your thread to the back again. I run it down around the bend of the hook. Now, this is what makes this fly so effective. For the body, I'm going to use, it's a tanned peacock feather. It's the eye of the peacock, and it's dyed in the tan color. I met a gentleman from Vancouver Island who showed me this, and we done extremely well. Tie that in, and then run your thread back up. Now, I'm going to palmer that all the way back up to the front. Oh, I better cut that off. Now to put the rib on, I'm going to reverse wind that for protection on that material. Spiral it up, even segmentations. color that off. Now I'm going to put on the wing case. I'm using a very thin material. You can use scud back, whatever you like. Some people will use 4 or 5 strands of this, but I prefer this material. Make sure you get it center. Now, at this point, I'm going to put on some legs. For that, I'm going to use Hungarian partridge. It's just a small feather like so, and you tie it in by the tips upside down. And I'll show you why here. Just preparing this. It's a delicate little trim. Trying to do this and not cut my thread. Now, I have to get myself some dubbing. Okay. For this, I'm going to use a brown dubbing. It's called burnt orange. I use that burnt orange color for many flies. Serves me well. And this is an imitation seal. It's called I'm Seal by Fly. Superfly makes some nice materials. Now what I'm going to do here is use my dubbing twister. Now, take your material, put it in there. It doesn't take a lot. Make sure you don't get the legs caught in there. Build the thorax up. When you get it to where you want it, tie it off. Now I'm just going to do a little trim work here. At this point you pull your legs over. Now you see why we tied it by the tips. Everything's going to flow back towards the rear, like so. Not happy with that. There we go. That's better. Now you take your wing case, trim that off. And your whip finished and you're in. In most cases you're done at this point, but now if you want to add eyes, not everybody does. I like to put eyes on it. I use this material. It's an acrylic paint, black, and I dub it on with a toothpick. I'll show you how. Just put a little bit on with a toothpick, like so. And there's the eyes. Once that dries, takes 4 or 5 minutes. You let that dry and then you can cover it with this material here, which is the super glue. And that's all there is to Mayfly Nymph, one of my best nymph patterns that I have in my box.